Blake Shelton hadn't planned on walking off the set that day. His team had prepped him for a routine appearance, promote the new single, crack a few jokes, charm the hosts, and leave with some good press. But The View was never just another morning show. Beneath the colorful set and coffee mugs lay a powder keg of opinions waiting for a spark. Blake, always the good-humored guest, had underestimated how quickly casual conversation could turn into a cultural minefield. Things began innocently, even warmly. Joy Behar joked about Blake's cowboy hat, and Blake fired back with a wisecrack about her bright red glasses. The crowd laughed. Cameras rolled. But then the tone shifted. Someone brought up the state of country music, and that was all it took. Joy leaned in, her voice layered in sarcasm. It's just curious, Blake. Country stars sing about love, God, and trucks, but not much about real issues, huh? Blake blinked, surprised. Real issues? What do you think those songs are about? He replied, his southern drawl thickening. Ever so slightly. Social justice, climate, women's rights. Seems like country music likes to stay, comfortable. The room tensed. Blake's jaw clenched. We sing about what we live, he said, low and even, and I ain't ever been comfortable. Where I come from, people are just trying to survive. Joy smiled tightly, clearly ready for round two. Survive with your multi-million-dollar record deals, you mean? The audience gasped. Blake's chair shifted slightly, his body stiffening. It wasn't about money, it wasn't about fame, it was about respect. Blake stared at Joy, then turned to the audience. I didn't come here to fight, he said, but I won't sit here and be told my life, or the lives of people I care about, don't count just because they don't match some elite checklist. Sunny Hostin tried to steer the conversation, sensing the temperature rise. Let's pivot, she offered gently. Blake, tell us about the veterans program you're supporting. But Joy wasn't done. Oh, come on, don't play the victim here. You're a celebrity, you have influence. Use it for something more than catchy tunes. Blake's eyes narrowed. Catchy tunes, he repeated. Lady music has saved more lives than your panel ever will. The studio audience didn't know whether to clap or stay silent. Some applauded out of instinct, others sat frozen. Joy chuckled bitterly. Right, because your guitar is going to fix systemic inequality. Blake stood slowly, placing his hands on the table. You ever been to a small town where the factory shut down, Joy? Where kids sleep in coats because there's no heat? Those songs, those catchy tunes, give them hope. Hope you couldn't understand in a million years. Anna Navarro shifted uncomfortably. Whoopi Goldberg whispered something to a producer off camera, and still, the cameras rolled. No one was blinking. Joy stared him down. Don't preach to me about hardship, Blake. I've lived through a few myself. Blake leaned forward slightly. Then act like it. The silence that followed was deafening. You could hear the soft hum of a stage light, the floor manager's foot tapping nervously. Then Blake slowly unhooked his microphone and laid it on the table. I didn't come here to be disrespected, he said. I came here to share music and good work, but clearly that ain't welcome unless I match your politics. He turned toward the audience. I love this country. I love the people in it, even the ones who think I'm just some redneck with a guitar. But I ain't gonna sit here and smile while someone spits on everything I stand for. With that, he walked off, no dramatic music, no cut to commercial. Just Blake Shelton walking out of the View like a man who'd had enough. Backstage, chaos erupted. Producers rushed to control the damage. PR reps whispered into phones, trying to soften the explosion that had just occurred live. Meanwhile, Joy sat calmly in her chair, sipping her coffee like nothing had happened. He took it personally, she said flatly. Can't handle the heat. Don't come into the kitchen. But even Whoopi looked uneasy. Sometimes the kitchen's on fire? Joy, she muttered, shaking her head. The social media meltdown began almost instantly. Clips of Blake's departure were trending within minutes. Some praised him as a hero of the heartland, a symbol of quiet strength. Others criticized him for walking out, accusing him of deflecting hard questions with false humility. Gwen Stefani, Blake's wife, posted a cryptic Instagram story, a photo of Blake holding a guitar, overlaid with the words, "Truth sings louder." Then noise. Fans immediately flooded her comments, demanding she speak out. Blake, however, remained silent. He canceled 2 radio interviews that afternoon. No tweets, no press releases, just silence. Meanwhile, Joy did an exclusive interview with a digital magazine that evening. "I didn't insult him," she said. "I challenged him. And if a question can shake your worldview, maybe it wasn't very solid to begin with." The internet took sides with ferocity. TikTok users reenacted the argument. Country fans vowed to boycott The View. Urban influencers called Blake thin-skinned. Everyone, it seemed, had an opinion. And no one was letting it go. Asterisk, by day 3, Blake finally addressed the clash with a short video on his social media. He sat in his truck, hat pulled low, the Oklahoma sky behind him. "Look," he said, "I don't hate anybody. I just think respect goes both ways. And when we stop listening and start accusing, we lose more than just a conversation. We lose each other." The video went viral within hours. It was raw, quiet, and deeply human. He didn't mention Joy's name. He didn't attack The View. He just spoke to the people he felt had been misrepresented. "If I stood up and walked away, it's because I didn't want to become what I hate. Loud, angry, dismissive. I just wanted to sing that line alone." Got over 3 million likes. Asterisk network executives met behind closed doors. ABC scrambled to contain the fallout. The View's next episode began with Whoopi addressing the elephant in the room. "We're a show of many voices," she said carefully, "and sometimes we clash. But that's the price of an open table." Joy offered no apology. "I stand by what I said," she noted simply, "but I do wish he'd stayed and finished." The conversation, many saw that as half-hearted. The damage had been done. But ratings soared. Millions tuned in the next day, hoping for another explosion. The tension hung in the air like smoke. And yet, behind the fire and fury, something deeper had been exposed to Americans staring at each other across a widening divide, neither willing to blink first. Asterisk, meanwhile, country radio stations played Blake's new single on repeat. 2, number 1, within 48 hours, the title, "Walk On." Fans took it as a subtle nod to the controversy. The lyrics were simple, almost haunting. "When they twist your words and laugh out loud, just smile and tip your hat, there's a road for every man, and I ain't looking back." The song wasn't about joy. It was about all of it: the noise, the labels, the frustration of being misunderstood. Blake's team capitalized on the momentum, announcing a surprise acoustic tour focused on unity through music. He called it The Long Road Back. Tickets sold out in minutes. Asterisk, some critics said Blake's walk-off was a stunt, a PR move to sell records. Others insisted it was the most authentic moment on daytime television in years. Either way, it ignited a firestorm that couldn't be ignored. Every network panel was talking about the country divide, the cultural fault lines, the dangers of media bubbles. Professors debated it. Podcasts dissected it. And in diners and coffee shops from Nashville to New York, people asked the same question. Who was right, Joy or Blake? The answer, perhaps, lay not in who shouted loudest, but in who was willing to stop and listen. And ironically, it was Blake walking away that finally got everyone to stop talking. And here the ripple effect from Blake Shelton's stormy exit from The View didn't just stop at headlines and hashtags. It began to bleed into everything. Country music stations started receiving both praise and backlash for continuing to play his tracks. Behind the scenes, network producers were walking a tightrope. One side feared losing progressive viewers who supported Joy's stance, while the other worried about alienating middle America, who saw Blake as a symbol of dignity under fire. As the lines blurred between entertainment and ideology, ABC executives arranged an emergency summit between the View's panel and their top PR team. They needed to find a way to move forward without admitting fault, yet without worsening the fracture that had captivated the nation. Gwen Stefani, typically private about conflict, found herself reluctantly at the center of the narrative. Paparazzi swarmed her everywhere, from yoga classes to studio sessions, shouting questions like, "Was Joy out of line?" and "Is Blake okay?" Her publicist issued a carefully worded statement urging mutual respect among all artists and media. Professionals, but fans wanted more. Days later, Gwen posted a video of her and Blake sitting in silence on a porch swing, holding hands. No words, just the wind rustling trees and birds, chirping faintly in the background. That video was viewed over 100 million times across platforms, and wed for a test in a decade. Some even joked that the swing had become a political statement itself.